Hello, families. Miss Kim here. Thank you so much for joining us for another day of the adventure of Christmas, helping kids to find Jesus in our holiday traditions. Does your house smell good lately because of all of the baking that's being done? Have you ever wondered how baking came to be a part of Christmas? Of course, eating is an important part of any holiday or festival. But let's read about how baking came to be a part of Christmas. Christmas and baking go hand in hand. It seems like they've been together since the beginning. For hundreds of years, breads and cakes, cookies and pies have graced dining room tables whenever Jesus' birth is celebrated. Long ago, Christmas Eve was a day of fasting. Do you know what fasting is? It's when you give up a meal. You don't eat, and instead of taking time to prepare something to eat and to eat, you take that time and spend it with God. So fasting is something you do for God, to give up a meal to spend time with Him instead. So it used to be that Christmas Eve was a day of fasting when people did not eat, but instead they spent that time praying, reading God's Word. As a way of preparing themselves for Christmas, people didn't eat anything the entire day, so they were extremely hungry when they woke up on Christmas Day. For breakfast, porridge, a hot, thick, bland cereal was served. That doesn't sound like a very good Christmas breakfast, does it? In our home, we have waffles and all kinds of yummy things, not porridge. As time went on, creative wives and mothers began adding dried fruits, spices, and honey to the porridge to make it a special Christmas morning treat. With all these extras, the mixture was thick and stiff. So the cooks wrapped it in a cloth and dunked it in a big pot of boiling water. Voila! Christmas pudding! Well, what do you know? You know that song, "Oh, give us some figgy pudding, oh, give us some figgy pudding." That's where that came from. Sometime during the 16th century, wheat flour replaced the porridge. Eggs were added to hold the ingredients together, and the resulting treat became known as boiled plum cake. The English used the word plum to mean any dried fruit. So what we actually have here is the advent of fruit cake. And I have a feeling there may be a few of the original fruit cakes still kicking around in the back of someone's pantry. It's kind of a joke that fruit cakes never go bad. When the terms bread and cake became interchangeable, they called it fruit bread. At one point, ginger was added in remembrance of the gifts of the Magi. Does this make fruit cake and gingerbread cousins? I love gingerbread. The word Bethlehem, which is the birthplace of Jesus, literally means house of bread. In that humble town in Judea, a baby boy was born who would come to be known as the bread of life. We refer to Jesus. Jesus referred to himself as the bread of life. He nourishes us with hope and healing, with forgiveness and love. When you're in the home of a family who loves Jesus, you can almost smell it in the air, just as you can smell bread baking in the oven. Some people call that the fragrance of Christ. When people are in your home, do they experience the fragrance of Christ? Do they experience the very presence of Jesus in your home? I hope so. So as you're baking pumpkin pie, star-shaped cookies, or banana bread this season, whatever wonderful smell is coming out of the oven, let it remind you of the bread of life, who gave himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling aroma. Wow, that gives a whole new meaning to the baking that we do at Christmas time. So when you are baking something, I hope your family will bake a birthday cake for Jesus this year. When you're baking things, to share with others or just to share in your family on Christmas Day, and you smell that wonderful aroma coming from the oven, think about Jesus is the bread of life, and he is a sweet smelling aroma. Yes, he's better than bread or cake or anything. All right, thank you for listening with me today. That was very interesting. I didn't know any of that, and I bet you didn't either. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll learn something else about Christmas. Bye-bye.